No, it did not. My Hero Academia Season 8 did not fall off. In fact, believe it or not, it still looks great, much to the dismay of certain folks on Twitter. If you know, you know. The 8th season of My Hero Academia has been a visual powerhouse so far, thanks to this season being half as long as usual and it being the conclusion of My Hero Academia the story. The staff has been firing on all cylinders and it shows. Every single episode has something interesting to offer, be it the highly polished drawings, be it the large amounts of movement, large for My Hero Academia, be it the stronger direction and storyboarding, the whole 9 yards. MHA Season 8, in my opinion, is the best, most consistent looking season till date, and as such, let's talk about it some more. Let's go through the most recent 5 episodes in detail and break down the visuals. Make sure to subscribe. That would be very cool of you. I talk about animation here on this channel, I do so a lot, so if you're into that sort of thing, this is the channel for you. Just go down there and subscribe. You can also become a member of this channel. Members get at least 2 exclusive videos per month, custom hand-drawn badges and emojis, shoutouts and more. Just go down there and press the join button. So before we go through the episodes in detail, let's get a few general things out of the way. Firstly, yes, this season is extremely strong looking for My Hero Academia standards. Even the casual fans have noticed that. Animation, direction, drawing quality, even stuff like background art and compositing, Season 8 has seen an upgrade in virtually every aspect of production. Why, you may ask? Because of 2 main all-encompassing reasons: the shorter episode count and the fact that this season is the final one. I've gone over this in detail before, but very briefly, this season being half as long as usual allowed the staff to raise the average quality floor, and this season being the final one gave the team that added requirement of going all out, because if not now then when, right? This is it. As such, MHA Season 8 saw a noticeable spike in all aspects of anime production, and most fans around the globe rejoiced, understandably so. Their favorite show was being sent off right. The keyword there, however, is most MHA fans, not all. While a vast majority of MHA fans were ecstatic about the quality of the final season, some weren't satisfied. According to this some, the MHA staff has this bizarre hidden agenda against the main character Deku. Apparently they love Bakugo so much that they gave him all of the animation, leaving poor old Deku out stranded in the middle of the road. By inference, this means Season 8 peaked with the Bakugo-centric episodes 3 and 4 and has fallen off since, thus the title. Now, setting aside that moronic reasoning, there is some truth to the concept behind that opinion. Yes, episodes 3 and 4 are the 2 best looking episodes from this season in my opinion, although again that has nothing to do with the staff liking one character more than another, but neither does that mean the subsequent 4 episodes looked weak, nor does it mean the upcoming 3 will look weak. Yes, the team did front-load this season a bit, visually speaking. The climactic episode 3 looked better than the even more climactic episode 8, but that doesn't change the fact that episode 8 did look amazing. It's just that the stars aligned better for episode 3, which happens. Anime production is a complicated thing with a ton of variables. Here's the thing, despite the increase in animation knowledge amongst the casual anime fanbase, most fans online don't really know how to navigate a staff list. They do that incredibly moronic thing where if they see a staff list without the 3 animator names they know, they automatically assume the episode will look bad, which, like I said, is incredibly moronic. They have no desire to learn, they have no interest in exploring the work of artists, they probably aren't even interested in artistry as a whole, all they care about is power scaling staff members. Oh, my anime has 10 well-known animators, yours only has 3, that's all that matters to them, which, hey, Battle Shonen fans, am I right? They just have to power scale everything, it's in their blood. Another issue, for lack of a better term, but actually not really an issue that I wanted to talk about, is the lack of appearances from a certain Yutaka Nakamura, i.e. the greatest 2D animator ever. As both fans of the show and the man himself know, Nakamura is yet to appear on My Hero Academia Season 8 despite being a mainstay of this show ever since Bones' Substudio C took over from Substudio A, aka from Season 2 onwards. Based on what I can tell, and correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't read the manga, the fight is over, the conflict is done. Shigaraki is gone and all is right with the world once again, meaning there aren't all that many opportunities left for the action extraordinary Yutaka Nakamura to pop up. That's the reason why some people believe he just won't show up this season, but I seriously doubt that. Nakamura has been involved with this project for a long time, be it seasons 2 through 7 or all 4 movies, so him not showing up for the finale seems weird, it seems wrong. I do genuinely believe he'll show up at some point and in some capacity. Maybe he'll pull an Arifumi Imai AOT Season 3 and animate some character acting, maybe he'll show up in the final episode for an anime-only action scene, I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas out there, but I do genuinely think he'll be there. I know he's also working on an upcoming Gachiakuta episode, but still, I think he'll make an appearance. With all that out of the way, let's finally go through the episodes, starting with episode 4, which in my opinion is the best directed episode across all of MHA. The episode was directed and storyboarded by Masayuki Otsuki, who surprisingly enough became a director and storyboard artist very recently with projects like Metallic Rouge and the previous MHA season. Prior to those, Otsuki was known for handling management roles such as that of a production assistant. Anyway, like I said, the episode itself was extremely well directed and storyboarded. The first half of it, aka the All for One backstory, featured some of the most volumetric, purposeful and cinematic storyboards and tasteful color use this series has to offer. Color use in particular being something MHA has historically struggled with. Let me put it this way, if someone showed you this frame and told you it was from MHA, you probably wouldn't believe them. And for good reason, since MHA hasn't exactly been the gold standard of environment-based atmosphere building. This episode, however, was different. The lighting, the compositing, the compositions themselves, the tremendous drawing quality, this flashback had it all. I was genuinely very impressed. The second half of this episode featured some explosive, pun intended, action animation, retaining that high-octane, energetic nature of the previous episode. Also worth mentioning, MHA characters, especially during intense scenes where they've taken a lot of damage, tend to have disgustingly high line counts. The sheer volume of hatching and line work on the characters is remarkable, giving the shots, even the static/limited ones, a sense of energy and intensity. Episode 4 had two major animation highlights, the first of which was animated by Yuki Sato, who's like the biggest Bakugo fan ever. Sato's sequence can be summed up in one word, energetic. It was filled with dynamic poses, snappy powerful spacing, extremely over-the-top acting and expressions, and a metric ton of effects, including those government-mandated cross-flares. The entire sequence was filled with raw, chaotic energy which worked wonderfully with both the story and Bakugo as a character, plus the large amount of effects and the almost black and white section near the end had that final battle feel, if that makes sense. Of course, the drawings themselves looked incredible. We had Yoshihiko Umakoshi himself correcting them, so obviously. The other animation highlight was animated by Ryoma Hattori, and it too was insane. You had a tiny bit of background animation near the start, followed by a ton of amazing debris and lightning animation, plus the background had this intense fisheye warp which accentuated the energy. We then got a bunch of cross flares, it's a Bakugo scene, so of course, followed by an insanely well drawn, stylized shot complete with these thick inky lines. They aren't all that visible in the final version, but the Genga shows just how powerful the drawings are, Umakoshi corrections I believe. By the way, this shot was a direct reference to Shu Sugita's sequence back in season 3, which was a cool little callback. Hattori then hit us with two smooth explosions and these absolutely gorgeous impact frames, you'll love to see it. And that was the episode, very solid overall, one of the better looking episodes across the entire show. Let's move on. Episode 5 was more laid back, understandably so. Having produced two high quality episodes back to back and with more high quality episodes on the way, the team obviously had to slow down a bit at some point. Still, the episode was fairly solid. It was directed by MHA regular Tsuyoshi Tobita and storyboarded by series director Naomi Nakayama herself and MHA mainstay Haruka Ida, and it featured more movement than what you'd expect from MHA, plus the drawings were incredibly strong, partly due to Umakoshi's supervision. It was a good episode. Some online were upset with it, but I think it was good. Animation-wise, highlights included the copious amounts of effects, some of which were animated by Satoshi Sakai, this incredibly well-drawn volumetric shot of Shigaraki with the depth of field blurring, and this buttery smooth, dynamic, full-body action cut animated by Miki Komuro. Episode 6 had a lot more to offer on the animation front, especially during the second half. It was directed and storyboarded by Shoji Ikeno, another MHA regular, with some additional storyboarding help from the aforementioned Masayuki Otsuki, and like I said, it had a fair bit of well-animated combat. A lot of the action in this episode, including both of Akira Iwamoto's sequences, Jason Yao's sequences, and a bit more, consisted of Deku dodging Shigaraki's body fingers and trying to get close, and it was visualized wonderfully. You had these high-octane dynamic shots with tons of energy packed into the character arcs and movement, as well as these Umakoshi-corrected eye-catching drawings. Very impressive, again, making characters this detailed move so much is a Herculean task. The star of this episode was Akira Iwamoto, a newer Bones-affiliated animator who really made his mark in the previous season of MHA. His scenes were particularly smooth and energetic. Episode 7 was a lot weaker visually speaking, quite possibly the weakest episode from this season. It's between it and episode 5. The episode was directed and storyboarded by the ever-reliable workhorse Tomo Okubo, and it was fine. We had some solid effects animation and a really well-animated character acting cut drawn by Kohei Hirota and corrected by Yuma Koshi. Not a bad episode whatsoever, but you could feel the let's just get the job done-iness of the whole thing. It felt like we are prepping for the next episode, the episode. And speaking of the next episode, episode 8 was a big one since it was, technically speaking, the finale. I know we have 3 more episodes left, but again, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is it for the fight. The conflict is done, it's all aftermath from here on out. The episode was directed by Michiru Itabisashi and storyboarded by series director Naomi Nakayama and Haruka Ida, and it was very good, but could it have been better? Possibly. I don't think this episode had the raw animation power of episode 3 or the overall direction and storyboarding quality of episode 4, in my opinion, of course. It was great, but not the best MH has to offer. Still, we had a lot to appreciate animation-wise. Superstar animators Kazuhiro Miwa and Toshiyuki Sato made brief effect-centric appearances. We had really solid character and effects animation courtesy of Kohei Hirota. We had some fantastic action and effects animation drawn by Haruka Ida. We had tons of movement. We had a plethora of callbacks to previous seasons. Be it the reference to the first movie, be it the parallel between Deku's first and final smash, be it the reference to Deku's run from season 1, which was such a direct reference that in terms of animation, they reused the original layout. That's why animator Itsuki Tsuchigami was credited on this episode, because he handled the original scene from season 1. The climax of the fight was animated by Shu Sugita, and while it wasn't as impressive as his highlight sequences from seasons 3 and 4, it was very good looking. Fantastic drawings complete with the thick line work, really cool stuff. The animation highlight from this episode, however, wasn't the climax, it was the sequence animated by Angel Kade, whose output has been really impressive as of late. Between his work on MHA Vigilantes, Gachiakuta, and now this, he has quickly established himself as one of the most promising younger talents currently active. More about the sequence, this shot was absolutely insane with phenomenal shading work. It looked so appealing, especially in its Genga form. We also got some amazing lightning effects, these inky, thick, stylized, smeary lines, and these jaw-dropping impact frames. It was a short sequence, less than 15 seconds long, but it was a memorable one. Fantastic work. And that is My Hero Academia Season 8, a very solid work overall, with a bunch of incredible highlights and a fairly high quality floor. The team understood the assignment, as the kids say. That's about it. A special thanks to Note03, Amir and the Gallus 90 for becoming tier 3 members, and until next time.